With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Good evening and welcome back once again, race fans, here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight on tap, start of the race week for you here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Swift Motorsports heads to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hot Atlanta 100 here in the AYERS iRacing Arca Menards Series. Drivers already on track putting down their qualifying laps here in this 5-minute qualifying session. Before we get to some of the timing and scoring for your qualifying session tonight, let's go ahead and run down your point standings coming into tonight's race. And looks like we're actually going to have to get that back on screen to be able to do that for you. So we'll bring that to you here in just a minute before pre-race. Anyways, how you doing? How you feeling out there in Raceland, TV fans? Wait, in TV land, race fans, there you go. As always, Darkside Dave in the cave here, bringing you all the calls from the trackside. Andy Starcher sitting on top of that provisional pole as they run on track right now. There you see Starcher at the top of the speed chart, sitting there with a 31:04 for the quick time here tonight. Looks like we've got a driver's photo still left up there. I believe that was Roy Fernandez. Stuck on screen there for just a brief moment. Andy Starcher in the 19 sitting on the pole position has John McMillan Sr. right behind him. 31:05, just a 1/100th of a second separate your top two drivers as they run right now. Looks like Larry Poling as well as Robert Gillard, Roy Fernandez, Gary Wells, and Ryan Branch, you all yet to put in a qualifying time. We've got 13 drivers already on the speed charts here tonight for race number 5 in season number 2 for the Swift MotorSports AYERS iRacing Arca Menards series here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Looks like most of the drivers already putting down those times, and with just barely over about a minute and a half remaining, looks like Ryan Branchew will be the last driver out on track on his qualifying attempt. And we'll see if we can do this. It may pop up on the screen. Bear with us, folks, and absolutely not going to have any issues here with that. So we'll begin to run down your official point standings coming into tonight's race with just about 60 seconds left on the clock. Ryan Branchew going to finish his qualifying attempt back in the 11th spot, so nobody going to take the pole position away from Andy Starcher inside of that 19 machine. Championship points coming into tonight's race. Race number 5 here in season number 2. There you can see it. Top of your point standings, Jason Branch, Todd McGregor close second, Kevin Burrows, Andy Starcher, Larry Poling, Michael Atkins Jr. now outside of the top 5, as it looks like he has been promoted, so you'll continue to see Michael Atkins Jr.'s name fall through these point standings. Atkins Jr. has been to victory lane the first 3 races of the season, so it looks like promotion due for him. Look to see him on track tomorrow night in the Truck Series right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Looks like qualifying has come to an end, and indeed, walking away with the pole here tonight, the 19 of Andy Starcher. So as these drivers begin to climb back in the car and get ready to go, green flag racing, get ready to hit the starting grid, we're going to step away for just a brief moment, head down trackside for the national anthem. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Backtrack side as the field begins to roll there. AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards machines to the starting grid. We'll take a look out towards the front stretch. More drivers still yet to hit their starting grid position. Set to fire things off once again here tonight. Race number 5 in Swift Motorsports K&N Series. That's right, the Arca Menards series, brought to you by AYERS iRacingPaints. Man, this is going to be one heck of a race here tonight. Atlanta, always known for producing some pretty hot and heavy action. That's why it's labeled Hot Atlanta 100 here tonight. And speaking of Hot Atlanta, let's take a little look at the weather report here tonight. Some of your race information right there on screen for you. 86 degrees outside, 110 track temperature. That is going to be a pretty slippery surface out there for these drivers to try to navigate this 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. And if this track isn't tricky enough, that track temperature is not going to help these drivers very much, as it looks like your pole sitter right there in that monster number 19 has made his way to the starting grid. Tell you what, why don't we see if we can't go ahead and run down tonight's starting lineup as the drivers begin to hit the starting grid. We'll walk you down how everything's going to shape up here tonight, starting inside row number 1, your pole sitter. Driver inside of that Hyperdrive Motorsports number 19 Monster Energy machine, the 19 of Andy Starcher. Last week's race winner, John McMullen, going to line up just to his outside. John Jr. sitting right behind him in that third spot. Ron Schutte right there in the 28 machine, slotted in the 4 spot, starting inside row number 3, Don Kidder, followed by Jim Thorndike. Row number 4 here tonight for the Hot Atlanta 100, the 71 of Todd McGregor. The 22 of Jason Branch going to slot in that 8 spot, starting in the 9th position, Britt Crawford, followed by Marshall Scully. Starting inside row number 6, the 6 of Ryan Branchew, followed by the 31 of Donald Bennett. Starting inside row number 7, Greg Deitch and Chad Lancaster. Row number 8 here tonight, Roy Fernandez and Gary Wells. Larry Poling, Robert Gillard are up there in race control. And with that being said, that's your starting lineup. Field ready to hit the gas for the first time here tonight. Chevy Silverado pace truck down and away. Green flag flies for the first time here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway in race number 5 for Swift Motorsports season number 2 here in the AYERS iRacing Arca Menards series. Off to a great start. Andy Starcher gets a great jump on the field. Already a 3-car race advantage as they make their way off of turn number 2. Now down the backstretch, familiar painted cars right there. You see the 75 of John Sr., John Jr. right behind him. Don Kidder in that 03 familiar paint scheme right there as well. That 03 hunting the front right now, looking for a spot inside of your top 3. All these drivers pretty much just nose to tail at this point in time. Have a driver with a little bit of a connection issue going on back near the back of the field. I believe that is the 22 of Jason Branch. that familiar Serve Pro 22 machine having a little bit of spotty issues here tonight, but we'll continue on here tonight. Todd McGregor sitting right there in that 71 machine, starting to break away from Marshall Scully just a little bit. Jim Thorndike, Britt Crawford, and Ryan Branch, you round out your top 10, and just like that, Jason Branch goes top of the speed charts. Quick time here in the race, 31:28. Most of the drivers nose to tail, but we do have a few battles out there to speak of. We'll check out the battle right here between Donald Bennett as he makes the pass, makes the move right there on Chad Lancaster. That's going to put Bennett now knocking on the door of a top 10. Bennett sitting in the 11th spot. A little bit further up the track there, you can see Jim Thorndike in that familiar GTR Simulator number 59, looking sporty out there tonight, making his way off of turn number 4, turn number 2, just in front of Marshall Scully. Britt Crawford right behind him, then Ryan Branchew. Donald Bennett sitting back in 11th, the 12th place runner. Chad Lancaster slotted in just behind him, and it looks like we have a few drivers a little bit off the pace. There you see the 3 drivers back in the background. That is Robert Gillard, as well as Greg Deitch and Larry Poling. Maybe taking a conservative approach near the rear of the field, but not being conservative at all right here. Here comes Jason Branch knocking his way up inside the top 5. He'll battle side by side with McGregor as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. Your race leader, still your pole sitter here tonight, Andy Starcher, and that Monster Energy 19 has led all 5 laps that are in the books. Now making a move to the bottom. Don Kidder was going to look to the inside of John Jr. Kidder not forcing the issue, going to stay right behind him, tucked in line. No stage brakes here in Swift Motorsports. So look for these drivers to put it down the entire time. They've got to make those gaps. They've got to make those moves. They have got to give themselves a cushion for when they come to pit road. You don't want to quickly exit the track right in front of somebody if you can help it. And as the timing and scoring begins to click off and these drivers have settled in, we'll run down some of your race intervals, your gaps back between the drivers on the track. There you can see John McMullen Sr. sitting just back off of Andy Starcher. 0.3 of a second separate those 2 drivers, then under a 10th separates John Sr. from John Jr. Don Kidder sitting right there in that 4th spot, less than a second away from your race leader back to the 4th spot. So these drivers absolutely putting it down early here at Hot Atlanta. Coming right at you, right into your living room, race fans. That's right. Great camera work out here tonight by all the guys and girls back at the Turn 3 headquarters, coming out, providing these great camera shots here tonight. Big time. Hats off to everybody back behind the scenes, back at the headquarters, getting the job done. Continuing to watch this battle unfold between the 71 of Todd McGregor and Jason Branch. Branch right there in that Serve Pro machine. Looks like the connection issues have smoothed themselves over for Branch. And looks like Branch sporting a little bit different color combo. That green looks to be a little bit more chrome than usual. And what do you know, broadcaster curse right there. You start speaking to somebody and starts having issues. Jason Branch with those connection issues rearing their ugly head. Once again, we'll look back at the front of the field as Starcher continues to lead this race. Lap number 10 now underway. Race leader Andy Starcher has no worries at this point in time in the race. Continues to lead tonight by just about 2. Well, make that 0.3 of a second right now over the 75 of John McMullen Sr. John Jr. still slotted in that 3rd position, so your top 3 right where they started tonight's race 1 through 3. Don Kidder up 1 spot. Todd McGregor up 1 spot as well, and it looks like a few drivers have dropped through the field just a little bit from where they started tonight's race, but Still a lot of racing left to do here tonight. Just about 89, 88 laps remaining, so still a very long time to make up a lot of ground here tonight. Atlanta Motor Speedway has been known, this 1.5 mile oval has been known to have some long green flag runs, and you better believe these drivers are more than likely going to be screaming for those 4 fresh Goodyears way before they ever even think about needing the fuel. More battles to be had back here. That's around the 8th, 9th, 10th position on track. Britt Crawford right there. You can see Ryan Branchew, Marshall Scully right there in that 63 machine closing in. Donald Bennett 1.2 seconds back behind him, running still in that 11th spot, but still on the move, still slowly clicking off that gap, slowly closing that distance in. Look for Bennett to be there, I would probably say in the next 7 to 10 laps. He'll be knocking on the door of that top 10, and we've got a battle right here. Oh, up the track, and Britt Crawford into Marshall. And Marshall with some, or actually, no. Who? That was Chad Link? No, who was that? Very interesting there. And it looks like it was indeed the 45 of Robert Gillard contact with Britt Crawford, and he went right up the track. Taking a look right here. There you can see Britt Crawford. Ryan Branchew battling with Marshall Scully, and I do apologize again, race fans. There you see that 6 on that Serve Pro Orange machine of Ryan Branchew. Branchew and Gillard getting together. Gillard taking the brunt of that down on pit road, back behind the wall. So one little scuffle, one little incident so far here tonight, but we continue. Green flag racing, lap number 16 now underway as you're watching the 63 of Marshall Scully. Look to the inside of Ryan Branchew. Branchew going to lose some ground, lose some time going into turn number 3. There you see, without a problem, Scully going to take that spot away. Now looking for the crossover. Can Branchew get the momentum? Not going to have enough. He's going to lose that spot now as they cross the line officially, and we'll jump back towards the front of the field as these front 4 drivers have closed in on each other once again. And it looks like Senior having a little bit of a struggle there coming off of turn number 2. John Jr. able to close up right to that rear deck lid. Not able to really do anything with the run as of yet, but Don Kidder, man, he has got some hungry drivers right behind him. Jim Thorndike as well as Jason Branch right there, nipping at the bud, nipping at his heels. Got to be very careful not to make any mistakes, like your race leader, Andy Starcher, way up the track in 1 and 2. He's going to lose 2 spots. Going to have to be careful because Don Kidder may just take a spot away. And look at Thorndike. Thorndike's going to dive to the bottom in 3 and 4, take the spot away from that 03. Kidder looking for more off of 4, coming to the rear deck lid of your pole sitter Starcher, who is now lost 2 positions and in danger of losing a 3rd. We'll go, I tell you what, race fans, why don't we go on board here with the driver inside. That 03 Don Kidder all over Jim Thorndike right now. You can check the mirrors and just see how full they are of all these drivers running right here in these top 5 spots on track. Ooh, little bit of a wash up the track. You heard Kidder had to jump out of the gas right there for just a brief moment. You can just hear those tires just squealing as Kidder gets into the corner right behind that 59 in that dirty air. Not a lot of, what's the counter steer from Kidder coming out of 2, and that is usually a good sign. But watch this. Watch turn 4. We'll see how much he's got to counter steer. Whoa, Starcher getting sideways just in front of Thorndike, and that's going to give Thorndike a little bit of advantage. He'll jump to the outside and try to take that top spot away going in to turn number 1 put Jim Thorndike now inside the podium spots. Thorndike running in third. The 15 of John Jr. has stepped away from the field. He's opened up a 1 second race advantage over John Macmillan Sr. Jim Thorndike running in third. Andy Starcher in fourth. Fifth place, Don Kidder. Your top 5 still all within 1.5 seconds of each other. There you can see the battle still raging on for that 4th and 5th spot between your pole sitter Andy Starcher and the 03 of Don Kidder. Ryan Branchew right there, as well as Jason Branch. Branch sitting in that 22 Serve Pro machine, trying to clean up on the field here tonight. Now Thorndike going to take another spot. Thorndike going to make a pass on John Sr. Move Thorndike now up into that 2nd spot, and he is looking very quick out there on the track. However, John Jr. much faster that last time by. Last lap for Jr. was 32.77 to Thorndike's 33.02. So just a little over 0.3 of a second faster that last lap. We'll wait and see how it all shakes out, as Thorndike has now got a little bit of clean air on the front nose of that AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series Chevy Impala. Looking at timing and scoring, and again, John Jr. about that 0.3 of a second faster still. So being way out in that clean air, really helping John Jr. at this point in time. Ryan Branchew battling once again with Jason Branch. Those two Serve Pro machines mixing it up. We've got Monte Carlos, Dodge Chargers. We've got, I believe that is an Impala sitting right there in the 7th spot, being piloted by Jason Branch, and Branch still having a few of those issues here tonight. We'll continue to see if they can't work themselves on out. And Marshall Scully, he has closed a ton of ground, sitting now all over Jason Branch. So from 2nd on back to 8th right here in this small little pack, Jim Thorndike slowly beginning to separate himself from these drivers packed up with him right here. And I tell you what, race fans, as we've got drivers with gaps through the field, we go ahead and run down and into the wall goes Ryan Branchew. Branchew hard into the wall at a turn number 2. Gets it collected after the field goes by. He's going to bring that number 6 down the pit road, way up the track again. Car having some issues getting turned right here. We'll see if Branchew breaks the pit road. No, he's going to stay out. Oh, right across the nose of the 08, right in front of Britt Crawford. And that is more than likely going to bring us under caution. And yes, indeed, caution flag flying now for the first time here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as contact between Ryan Branchew and Britt Crawford. Branchew trying to get his car back underneath him, and unfortunately having some troubles. We'll jump back, see how it all went down with our turn 3 replay. Here you see Branchew already struggling, and then coming right down in front of that 08 of Britt Crawford. Crawford really nowhere he could go, nothing he could really do. I'll tell you what, we'll take one more look at this here, maybe from the cockpit of Crawford, and there you have it right there, race fans. One more time, we'll reel it back for you. And boom, there it is, lifting the rear tires up off. That is some heavy impact for Crawford. Crawford's going to be on pit road for quite some time after that contact. We'll rejoin the field live as the drivers all come to pit road. That's going to bring us to a little bit of a conundrum as far as the fuel strategy. These drivers not going to be able to make it on fuel here, but they're going to be somewhere right at about a fuel tank and a half, if that translates for some of you race fans out there. They're not going to need two full fuel stops. They're going to have about one and about half of another full fuel run. So the pit window, the pit strategy has now really come into play, as looking at the exit of pit road, drivers coming off after service here. Let's see who we've got down there still on pit road. There you see Britt Crawford still in his pit box. Looks like Donald Bennett heading back out onto the track. Chad Lancaster, Ryan Branchew, Greg Deitch, all still on pit road. And with that being said, I tell you what, we'll jump back at the front with your race leader, new race leader, the 59 of Jim Thorndike. Four different race leaders so far here tonight in our 30 laps of racing. Jim Thorndike, John McMullen Jr., as well as John McMullen Sr. Also your pole sitter, Andy Starcher. So already four different race leaders here tonight. One caution so far. That's going to bring us to a crawl. The field should receive the one to go next time by, and we'll be set to go back green flag racing. So I tell you what, race fans, we're going to step away for just a brief, and I do mean brief, commercial break. We'll be back with all your green flag action live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be right back. Trackside as the field gets double file. Chevy Silverado pace truck brings the field halfway down the backstretch. We'll get set to fire things off one more time. Your front row a little bit different here for this restart. Jim Thorndike, your race leader, has chosen that outside lane. That will put John McMillan Jr. to his inside. Andy Starcher gonna line up just behind your race leader, Don Kidder, down there on that inside line. Second car inside. Chevy Silverado pace truck makes that left-hand turn, waiting for it. Green flag flies once again here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for race number 5 in Swift Motorsports. AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Thorndike off to a good jump on this initial restart. John McMillan has Andy Starcher breathing down his neck off of turn number 2. Here comes Starcher trying to make his way back to that top spot. Multiple battles between multiple drivers out there on track. There you can see just off in the distance Todd McGregor with a pass on John McMillan Sr. Now Marshall Scully looks to the inside as well. Scully gonna take that spot away. The 20 of Lancaster very close to making some contact right there. Ryan Branchew slotted in that 10th spot. Donald Bennett still sitting in 11th, trying to make that 31 come up through the field. Bennett up one spot from where he started tonight's race, and now knocking the door down on the top 10. Inside your top 10 for the first time here tonight, driver in that 31 machine, Donald Bennett. Battle still raging at the front of the field, so we'll jump back to this one on track. There you see John McMullen Jr. able to take that top spot back away from Jim Thorndike, and Jr. puts down the fastest lap of the race that time by 31:14 for John McMullen Jr. McMillan Jr. starting to step away with a good gap, a good race advantage now as we cross the line to begin lap number 36. As almost a half a second race advantage over Jim Thorndike. So I tell you what, while we've got a moment, let's run down your top 10. There you see him, driver in that 15 machine, John McMillan Jr. On a tear up through the field once in that top spot, the 59 of Jim Thorndike. Your pole sitter for tonight's race now running in the third spot at a Hyperdrive Motorsports, the 46-year-old from West Virginia, Andy Starcher. A close fourth place battle underway between the 03 of Don Kittern looking just to his inside. Well, being the magic man right now. Now you see him, now you don't. Jason Branch from Virginia Beach, Virginia, having a little bit of connection issues, but that Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints driver should get that all figured out, worked out. We'll jump back now with the sixth place runner, Todd McGregor. Slotted in just behind McGregor, there you can see the 63 of Marshall Scully. John Sr., after starting way up front in the field, has dropped 6 spots from where he started tonight's race. John McMillan Sr. struggling a little bit. Driver running back in the 9th spot at a Keystone Motorsports, Kutztown, PA's very own Donald Bennett out of the Turn 3 Racing Network. Bromley Designs draft top sponsors on that 31 machine. Man, looking pretty good, but I'm a little impartial to those Turn 3 orange colors. Don't know why, just seem to love them. On to your final driver inside the top 10 at a 4X Racing, the 6th of Ryan Branchew, the 18-year-old from Toledo, Ohio, trying to make a run back up towards the front of the field. We'll continue to watch all of these battles unfold as we continue to click off the laps here just outside of the halfway point here tonight. And we've got battles at the front. We'll jump back to this one real fast as we've got a battle back for that 9th and 10th spot. Branchew looking to the inside of Bennett. We'll look back here, continue this battle for just a second as it begins to unfold, and here goes Branchew to the bottom. Bennett trying to keep the momentum up on the high side, working his way off of turn number 2. Not going to get there just yet. Looks for the crossover. Now pulls even on the entry of 3. Side by side through the center of 3 and 4. Bennett, Branchew battling off of turn 4, back through the tri-oval, crossing the stripe. Branchew's going to have the advantage, going to take that 9th spot away. Back to the front of the field, though, because here comes the fast drivers at the front. Don Kidder all over Jason Branch, Jim Thorndike. He's got Andy Starcher, your pole sitter, breathing right down his neck. Starcher looking to the inside of the 59, not going to take that line just yet. And I tell you what, race fans, why don't we see if we can't get a look-see inside at Jim Thorndike. There you see some nice bright green gloves you should be able to see if he's got to counter steer that thing too much. Now we'll look back off of the roof. There you see some great seals of honor representing all of the great military services here in the U.S., as well as the Prison of Wars and Missing in Action emblem. Also right there you see the presidential seal, so hats off to Thorndike having an awesome little paint scheme. And talk about possible sponsorship spots. Look at that. That is a great spot. Great camera work from all the guys and girls back at the Turn 3 Racing headquarters. We do appreciate each and every one of y'all back at the headquarters, just like we appreciate each and every one of you race fans tuning in out there in TV land here tonight, whether it's over on the YouTube side of things or maybe it's on Facebook. We do salute and thank each and every one of you for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't already, throw these drivers a big thumbs up, smash the bell. Click subscribe first, though, and then smash the bell over there on the right-hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's myself, Darkside Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters. We do appreciate each and every one of you, each and every time you stop by, whether you're just casually stopping through or the devoted fan, friend, or family. We do appreciate each and every one of you, so go ahead, throw these drivers a thumbs up. After our first caution, flying right about lap number 26, these drivers continue this long green flag run, 20 laps into this green flag run, right around where we were when that first pesky caution flew and slowed the field down just a little bit. And as we continue this long green flag run, I tell you what, why don't we go ahead and give you a little bit of the house cleaning here tonight. Started tonight's race with 15 drivers on the starting grid. We have still got 14 drivers out there on track with 12 left on the lead lap. The 69 of Larry Poling, last driver on the lead lap, sitting in that 12th spot. Britt Crawford, after trouble in contact, finds himself down off a pace. First car scored off of your lead lap. Gonna look for some more battles on track. I tell you what about a 3-car battle on the track? Don Kidder, Marshall Scully, John McMullen Sr. all packed up right here, running with each other. The 63 looks to the outside of Kidder, but Scully not going to be able to get that pass done just yet. And whoa, almost into that outside wall. Greg Deitch with a little bit of an issue back there coming off of turn number 2, almost into the outside safer barrier, able to keep it off the wall, able to keep it heading in the right direction. So we'll stay green flag here. And race number 5 at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hot Atlanta 100. Your pole sitter, Andy Starcher, has begun to fall through the field all the way back now to the 4th spot as Jason Branch has grabbed that final podium spot right there, the 3rd spot. There you see that very familiar green and orange Serve Pro AYERS iRacing Arca Menards machine. Branch always quick, always near the front of the field, and Mr. Consistency himself coming into tonight's race with 173 points in the championship standings. He's got himself a 14-point buffer back to Todd McGregor. Kevin Burrows 24 points back. Andy Starcher sitting back 27 points in the fourth spot. Larry Poling rounds out your top 5 as far as your point standings are concerned coming into tonight's race. And Poling not having the best of races right now, but continuing to soldier on. We'll take a look back now for a battle right about the 7th and 8th position on track. Don Kidder in 8th, trying to take that 7th spot away from John Sr. as they ride right behind that 63 of Marshall Scully. There you can see Scully making his way back to the bottom of the track, gonna block that run. And Kidder, he was there, but he just couldn't get the job done, couldn't make the pass. And that's going to slowly bring Ryan Branchew, that 6 machine, back up into the mix here tonight. Only one driver scored off the track and out of tonight's race. The 45 of Robert Gillard had some trouble very early here tonight. Back around lap number 13 is when Gillard had that trouble into that outside wall coming through the tri-oval. Had some issues and jumped right to pit road. Stuck back behind the pit lane wall, now back in the garage and out of tonight's race. And there you seen on screen Branchew able to put his 6 machine in the right spot and power his way around that good wrench service quick lube 03, piloted by Don Kidder. Back near the front of the field, Jim Thorndike slowly closing that distance back in on John Jr. Gap has now shrunk to just 0.4 of a second. It was right around the 0.7 a few laps ago. So Thorndike slowly but surely making his moves. And I am not sure what happened to Ron in the 28 here tonight. Looks like he may be in a race control for tonight's race. Hasn't made any laps here. Did not have a qualifying lap put in either. So I do believe he has some administrative duties here tonight. So Shooty going to drop through the point standings just a little bit. But you can rest assured, Shooty will be on track tomorrow night in the Swift Motorsports Performance Truck Series right here on Turn 3 Racing Network, your home network for Swift Motorsports here on the iRacing.com platform. iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator. If you've wanted to race it, you've wanted to drive it, wanted to know what it feels like to be in maybe a Daytona prototype, one of those Formula One machines, even the Indy cars. That's right, they got it all scanned with laser precision. All the track's physics are absolutely amazing. New damage and tire models constantly being improved on. If you want to race it, they've got it. Check out iRacing.com. Gonna check on this battle for a top 5 spot as Marshall Scully has closed in the distance on Todd McGregor. That familiar Mountain Dew machine struggling a little bit to keep himself inside the top 5. Running in the 4th spot right now, McGregor has lost a ton of ground to Jason Branch. About 2.2 seconds separate both of those drivers from each other. And now Greg Deitch brings his machine back into pit road. Deitch going to be on pit road for quite some time. And it looks like the 6 of Ryan Branchew, Jason Branch, Don Kidder, all to pit road that time. So all 3 drivers making the drop to pit road for their first green flag pit stop here tonight, and drivers going to have to be on their toes, getting the cars woed up. We'll check back in with some of the battles going on. Todd McGregor now still has Marshall Scully right there all over him, but McGregor now sitting in the third spot. He's going to break off and come to pit road. Back at the front with your race leader, the 15 of John McMillan Jr. Looks like Andy Starcher also brought his 19 to pit road that last time by. How much longer will your top two drivers stay out on track? The difference in the lap times going to be phenomenal. We'll have to wait and see how some of these drivers lay down these laps, just to give you an idea of what the what the time difference is on the tires. And I tell you what, while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and show you some of the pit strategy for these drivers here tonight. There you can see it in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. 28 laps for most of these drivers for that first stint. There you see 34 laps for a lot of the drivers left to come to pit road. But John Jr. continues to lead here after taking back over the race lead from Jim Thorndike, who won the race off of pit road after our first caution here tonight. Thorndike led the first handful of laps after that restart, but John Jr. snatched the race lead away and has not looked back since. He enjoys a 1.08 second advantage over Thorndike. Still staying out there a very long time. Your top two drivers, John McMullen Jr. as well as Jim Thorndike. Larry Bowling, Chad Lancaster, all yet to hit pit road. Jason Branch is your top driver that has already been to pit road. Don Kidder right there about 3.5 seconds back, but the tire difference is the same for those two drivers, so Branch just able to get to pit road and back off much quicker than what Jason Branch was able to accomplish. Crossing the line to begin lap number 67 here tonight out of the 100 scheduled in the official race distance for the Hot Atlanta 100. Here in Swift Motorsports, AYERS iRacingPaints, Arca Menards series back down the backstretch. Your race leader still yet to come to pit road. He's going to have to come to pit road. And then I think he very well may be stretching this to the one stopper here. Rest of the drivers in Thorndike on the brakes hard. Gonna bring his machine to pit road. Larry Poling just behind them. Right there you see him. Chad Lancaster also back onto pit road. That's going to put Jason Branch, Don Kidder back onto the lead lap. Andy Starcher in the 19. He's going to slot himself back on the lead lap as well as we got to the end of this green flag pit cycle. Going to keep our eye on Jason Branch because he very well may assume the race lead late in the going here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Crossing the line to begin lap number 68. Branch takes that top spot away from Kidder, Thorndike, John McMullen, as well as Andy Starcher. All of these drivers now behind Jason Branch, your new race leader. Your race leader, Jason Branch, has opened up a 3.2 second gap back to Don Kidder. Jim Thorndike, another 4 seconds back from him. Andy Starcher, John McMullen Jr. These drivers all battling it out with each other. They have the freshest tires. Thorndike, McMullen Jr., 7-lap fresher tires, and 7 laps might not sound like very much, but 7 laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway is probably equates to about 20 laps at, let's say, a newly paved Texas Motor Speedway or Charlotte Motor Speedway. Atlanta, known to just eat up the tires, known to just give drivers fits. And so far here tonight, we haven't had very many issues, very many cautions. We've had 1 caution flag so far here tonight. Back at around lap number 26, we have been clean and green since the drop of the flag on that restart. Jason Branch has now taken control over the race lead during the green flag pit cycle. Don Kidder in the 03 now up to 3rd. Jim Thorndike right there just in front of John Jr., Andy Starcher, Marshall Scully, all slotted in right there, running with these drivers as well. And what a good job on and off pit road for Jim Thorndike. 44.75 seconds on and off pit road. He did have one of the fastest pit stops on track as well. Looks like indeed the 59's pit crew getting the job done. Fastest stop of tonight's race, 14 seconds. Knocking on, 14.73 to be exact on pit in his pit box for Thorndike. That's about close to, looks like close to about a tenth or two faster than the next pit crew. So Thorndike making up spots both on and off the racing surface. And it looks like Branchu has had some issues out there. I believe that's Casey Duncan out there in the YouTube side of things. Looks like Branchu had a very long stop, over 5 minutes on the pit lane. So that is why he finds himself down multiple laps now after this point, after being inside your top 10 before the start of that green flag pit cycle. Not quite sure what the issue or problem was, but on the timing and scoring showing him in his pit box for 5 minutes and 12 seconds. So it looks like maybe stepping away from the simulator for just a minute. And Branchu gonna fall outside of the top 10 off of the lead lap and pretty much at the tail end of the field. Oh, and contact between two drivers. The 03 of Kidder goes way up the track, and oh my goodness, Jim Thorndike just absolutely destroys that right front tire. Oh my goodness, let's see if there you can see the car, just how torn up it is. You can see it vibrating, shaking inside of the cockpit of that 59. Thorndike going to try to keep it on track as long as he can. I'll tell you what, let's go back and take a look at that pass. Let's take a look at that little race incident as we've got 25 laps remaining. Here we go back to this little incident right there. You see Thorndike down to the bottom of the track. Oh, and just contact. Kidder maybe not knowing that Thorndike was there. Thorndike coming up the track just a little bit. And the meeting of the minds right there in the center of the track. We'll rejoin the race back up live at the front of the field as Jim Thorndike now under fire. Andy Starcher, your pole sitter, going to put his Monster Energy AYERS iRacing Arca Menards machine back inside a podium position. Now running in the third spot. There's Marshall Scully making a splash here tonight, trying to see if he can't make his way to a podium spot here tonight. Now Thorndike looks back to the bottom once again. 23 laps now remaining as the drivers make their way through the tri-oval, and after taking the race lead after an early pit stop, Jason Branch, he has stepped away from the field, has a 2.7 second race advantage. But the man in second, this man right here in the Canadian iRacing sponsored number 15 machine, John McMillan Jr. Last time by 31.98, your race leader Jason Branch with a 32.79. So almost a full second faster. John McMillan that time by 31.85 to 32.79. So right at 9/10 of a second. McMillan closing that gap and closing it quick. Yep, and that will pretty much do it for you. Anytime you have any of those issues, the Ethernet connection, things like that, sometimes it can put you out and behind the 8 ball. And unfortunately here tonight does look like a technical glitch issue with the Ethernet and things of that nature over there on the side with Ryan Branchu. So do appreciate all the team information coming over through the chats. Do appreciate you out there, Casey Duncan, keeping us all on our toes, keeping us with the information from the 4X Racing stable of drivers. And it looks like Jason Branch, Don Kidder going to come to pit road one more time. Branch and Kidder to pit road with 20 laps to go. I was wondering if they had enough fuel, and I don't think they're going to have enough fuel. We'll keep our eye on that, but this man has now reassumed the race lead once again. New race leader back to the front of the field, the 15 of John McMillan Jr. And that just, it makes me wonder here now, race fans. Jason Branch, Don Kidder last to pit road on lap number 60. Coming down to pit road just 20 laps later on lap number 80. Both of those drivers had longer race runs earlier in the race. We'll remind everybody of it right there. And I tell you what, while we're at it, let's just go ahead and do this so maybe we can see what we can see. And looks like, it's going to stay right where it's at as we watch Don Kidder make his way back off of pit road. Or actually, he's going to bring his machine back to pit road. Looks like some trouble for Kidder. And that's all but going to put Kidder out of tonight's race, down a lap here late in the going. Only 18 laps remaining. And looks like the pit road police have popped Don Kidder, that 03, back to pit road. He's going to have to stop in his box. Jason Branch, however, now running in the 9th spot, looking to try to gain some ground on Chad Lancaster. Both of those drivers being scored just one lap down. Larry Poling right there, one lap down as well. There you see Poling in that 69 machine. First car scored off of your lead lap. Looking through the timing and scoring, not a lot of battles out there on the raceway except for the one starting to heat up between Jason Branch and Chad Lancaster. Lancaster still yet to make his second stop here tonight. And there you see Branch now in, and you see the stints. 28 laps, 50 laps. There's only 20 laps left to go here tonight. So will that short pit work out? Will the tire strategy, will the fuel strategy turn out and play into the hands of this 22 machine? We'll have to wait and see, while the driver at the front of the field has stepped away to almost a 5-second race advantage. John McMillan Jr. in that Canadian iRacing sponsored AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series Chevy getting it done. Man, lap time after lap time, just absolutely blazing fast. 0.3 of a second faster than his closest competitor. That's this man right here, Jim Thorndike, running in that second spot. There you can see Jason Branch making his way back up through the field. Next driver on the list to pass is your race leader, and that will put Branch back onto the lead lap. Still a long way to go if he's going to want to try to break inside not just a top 10, but a top 5, maybe possibly even a podium spot. But what will catch him out is if we get a late race caution right now with him being down 1 lap, he'll be forced to stay out on the older tires and take the wave around. All the drivers on the lead lap will pit for tires, and that would put Branch in a very bad situation. So Branch trying all he can to gain all he can right now, try to get himself back on the lead lap should we see a caution flag late in the going here with just 12 laps to go. Now that time by your race leader, John McMillan, still running right at that 32.5 second lap mark. That is just about 1.3 seconds off of the fastest lap of the race. And that is about close to 26, 25 laps into the tire run right now for John McMillan Jr. So he is absolutely flying out there on the old tires. 11 laps now remaining. As we go back to the front with your race leader, going to keep an eye on him, see if we say clean in front of this 15 machine. Doesn't look like there is anyone around except for the hard charging, fast on those 4 freshies, the 22 of Jason Branch. He is right there, knocking on the door, being able to put himself back onto the lead lap, and Branch is just hoping and praying right now with 10 laps remaining that he's able to get here and get the pass before we have any sort of caution, and gonna be able to do so, and do so convincingly. Branch now back onto the lead lap. And as your race leader crosses the line to begin 9 laps to go, we'll run down and through a little bit of house cleaning here tonight, even though there's not very much of it to do. 15 drivers took to the starting grid here tonight. We have still got 14 on the track running, with 7 drivers now on the lead lap after Jason Branch passed the man on screen, your race leader, John McMillan Jr. So 7 drivers now on that lead lap. Larry Bowling, last driver, or first driver I should say, scored off the lead lap in the lucky dog position. And you're absolutely right, KC doesn't need a lucky dog now, but if he's got an extra set of tires, he has been pretty quick here in the second half of tonight's race. We'll check in with the weather report here in the closing stages, see if the track has cooled off, and there you can see significant cool down of the racetrack, almost a 10-degree difference from where we started tonight's race. Started tonight at 110 degrees on the track, so a 9-degree difference to be exact, but everybody knows how I can't count, so we'll just keep rolling. Gonna look through some of the drivers running through the field here tonight. Why don't we go back here, showcase this driver right here. The 63 of Marshall Scully, looking very sporty out there tonight. Haven't really seen Scully very much, so this very well may be his first race of the season here in race number 5 for season number 2 of the Swift MotorSports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. As we continue this long green flag run, Marshall Scully making a splash for sure here tonight at Hot Atlanta Motor Speedway. Man at the front, there you see him, high five last time by. 5 laps now remaining as he begins to hound that 31 turn 3 sponsored AYERS iRacing Arca Menards series. Chevy Impala, McMillan gonna take the inside lane. That's gonna put Bennett down a lap, and now we're down to just 6 drivers left on the lead lap. Looking through the timing and scoring, no real battles to speak of on the raceway, so we'll just stay right here with your top runner, your race leader, John McMillan Jr. getting the job done here tonight. Man, what a run by that 15. Back off of 4 once again. 3 laps now remaining for the 15 to clinch the victory here tonight in race number 5 at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Hot Atlanta 100 live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, your home for Swift Motorsports season number 2. That's right, race fans, you can join us once again tomorrow night. We'll be right back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Swift Motorsports Performance Truck Series. Popsicle sticks on display for your race leader. Only 2 laps remaining for John McMillan to slot into the victory lane here tonight. Can the 15 keep it clean? Does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? Off of 4, white flag in the air. Final lap here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway and Swift Motorsports season number 2. Race number 5 at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. 15 makes his way back down the back stretch for the final time, heading into the home stretch side of things, down into turn 3. Nice and clean through 3 out of 4. No problems at all for that 15. Checkered flag in the air, now in hand. Your race winner, the 15 of John McMillan. Fantastic job out there. Fantastic drive by the man on screen. Your race winner. We'll throw up a little bit of the graphic information for you on screen. There you see it right there. Your race winner out of Canada, John McMillan Jr. getting the job done. And as the 15 brings it to a slow, he's going to begin to enjoy a little bit of a smoke show celebration. Walking the dog down the track just a little bit for these race fans. And while the 15 enjoys his post-race celebrations, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. Get things set up for your post-race interview, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. back live trackside at the completion of tonight's race number 5 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's see if we can't get a few words with some of your podium finishing drivers out there tonight. Let's see if we can't grab a few words with a driver making his debut here tonight. Not only debuting in the booth, but also debuting on the track. Driver inside of that 63 machine, Marshall Scully. It's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
Hey, my man, making a splash here tonight in a very big way. First time on track with Swift Motorsports, and you're able to put it right in a podium spot. How good does that make you and everybody back in that 63 crew feel?
Oh, man, it makes it feel real good. I turned some practice laps yesterday with some of the guys, and they're fast out there. Some fast qualifying laps, and we feel good with this finish.
So walk us through, knowing that you're a new member here, starting out in the Arca Menards series. What's your goal? What's your process here? Are you trying to move up quickly through the ranks, or are you going to take your time here and maybe possibly try to dominate or possibly win one of these series by the end of this season?
Yeah, I think right now we're just going to kind of settle into it. I like the Arca cars. Kind of race with Justin Gann. He comes into one of our lower leagues and kind of bullies us around. So I just want to get in here and get some experience with these guys before I try to move up.
All right, my man. Well, getting some experience for sure, getting some long green flag runs, a green flag pit stop in here tonight at a very tough track at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Looks like, going to grab the schedule real quick. Looks like we go to, let me take a look at this. Should have been a little more prepared for this, huh? Next Monday night, looks like we head to Dover International Speedway. What's your thoughts moving from a track like this to the concrete monster at Dover?
Oh, man, you got that right, the monster. I'm just going to try to keep it clean again and see where that gets me.
All right, Marshall. Well, we do appreciate you taking some time to talk to us here in the post-race interviews. Congratulations on a great run, not just getting a third place, but making a big-time statement here in your very first race. So before we let you go, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of that 63?
Thank my wife, thank my girls, love you ladies. Thanks Justin Gann for putting the bug in my ear to jump over here to Swift, and thanks admins, thanks racers.
All right, well, there you have it. Final few parting words from the driver walking away in that third position here tonight. That was Marshall Scully. Now, I tell you what, let's see if we can't bring our second place finisher in for a brief moment here. The 59 of Jim Thorndike. How you doing? It's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, Jim. I'm doing good. How about yourself after another solid run, huh?
I'm pretty happy with it. I'm a little bummed that I was able, that last green flag pit stop, I was able to get out in front of the leader, in front of John there, and I was maintaining a pretty good distance from him, and we were just slowly clicking off laps, and then I don't know what happened, but got together with the 03. I don't know if he got loose or something or didn't see me there or what, but it was still an excellent run.
Yes, it was, and going to mention that little contact between yourself and the 03. At that point in time, you were having a good, solid run. As you mentioned, a little bit frustrating. Didn't seem to be any malicious acts or anything like that, but how do you move on from something like this, having a race win so close in hand, and then just watching it kind of fade away in those final few laps?
Well, I got to kind of stay on a positive note that I was still able to come back and finish second, so that's good. And then just keep the top fives rolling along, and we still got a long season yet. Plenty of chances to still make a win, a victory there.
Absolutely, and absolutely a great way to think about it. Still had a little bit of a down moment, but overall, big moment for you as well as the rest of everybody back on that 59 crew, able to walk away with a second place here tonight. And before we let you go, want to give you some congratulations on a great race run, but also want to mention those sponsor seals you have across that deck lid. Man, that's a pretty sweet tip of the cap for all of those, man. That's nice.
Yes, sir. I have to always got to carry the patriotic scheme. I was in the Army for a couple years, and so now I back the military, and I always will.
All right, Jim. Well, again, man, a great race one. Maybe I can spit it out eventually. Race run. There, I can say it. I promise I can. Great race run here, Jim, finishing in a second place. Before we let you go, though, we want to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody else on that 59.
Yes, sir. I got to thank my girlfriend for letting me have the opportunity to do this. And she takes care of my daughter while I get to do this. And I got to love her for that. And I got to thank the 4X Racing team. We work well together, and we work as a team. Even though it's not team points, we still help each other out. GTR Simulator. If you're looking for a good sim rig, GTR Simulator is awesome. Serve Pro, Dynamax, great house. Casey Designs, like I said before, if you like his paint schemes, Casey's an awesome painter. And iHeartRadio, that's a new one, come on board last week. And then Functional Fitness. And I always got to give you props. You do an excellent job in the booth, Dave, and we appreciate you.
Well, we do appreciate the kind words there, Jim, and we look forward to catching up with you next week at the Monster Mile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That can be an excellent track. Burn up the tires. Got to be willing to save your stuff.
Well, there you have it. Final words from the driver walking away in that second spot, the 59 of Jim Thorndike. Very happy with being able to recover after a late race contact and walk away in the second spot. But let's get to the man that walked away with the race win yet again. The 15 of John McMillan Jr. back in victory lane, back-to-back race wins. Man, you've got to be feeling good.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that win, that's for sure.
Well, since it's back-to-back race winning weekends for you, or weekdays if you want to, be honest about it, Monday night here, does either win feel sweeter or better than the other?
Yeah, not really. They feel pretty equal. I definitely today would have liked to have had a good battle there with Jim. It's kind of upsetting that he got in there with Don a little bit because I was looking forward to the battle there at the end, but both of them feel great to me.
Well, just a handful of races in so far here with Swift Motorsports, already visiting victory lane twice. What's your thoughts moving forward through the rest of the season as we click off and get heading towards the chase period here? Are you looking to move up into the trucks and maybe Xfinity, or are you looking to try to see if you can't make your way up the point standings and snatch a championship right here?
As of right now, I currently also race in the trucks. I'll be racing the trucks tomorrow night as well. But for now, I'm just trucks and Arca. I just plan to hopefully keep some top fives and make the chase for this year and see where things go.
All right, John. Well, once again, man, congratulations on a great race win, back-to-back race winning weekends. So before we let you go, you want to give any extra shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody else on the side of that 15?
Again, I'd just like to thank my dad. He's helped me out lots. I'd like to thank my family out too. They allow me to do this, during the week, which is nice of them. And I'd like to thank you, Dave. You do some awesome broadcasting. It's really well done.
Well, we do appreciate those kind words, and I'll try to make sure I don't fumble my words around too much like I usually do. But, John, heck of a job, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you the past two race weekends here in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. So we'll look forward to catching up with you at the Concrete Jungle, the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway next Monday night. What do you say?
Sounds good. It'll be can't wait to do it.
All right, there you have it. Final few words from your race winner here tonight, the 15 of John McMillan Jr., taking it to victory lane, back-to-back race winning weekends here for him in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. Man, he is a wheelman in these K&N machines, getting the job done back-to-back, as I already said, running in the truck series as well. Look for him right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway tomorrow night for the Swift MotorSports Performance Truck Series, live right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Once again, man, what another great race run in the books here again for the Swift MotorSports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. Race number 5 in the books, and we're still down to just 2 race winners on the season so far. Michael Atkins Jr. has moved on to the Trucks and Xfinity series, won't be running here in the K&N series anymore. And just one other man, John McMillan Jr., been to victory lane, make it 2 times so far this season now after tonight's race. Man, it just looks like when you come in, you better be on point, because these drivers laying it down week in and week out. You have got to make your way into victory lane if you're going to do anything with any of these drivers as far as the points championship is concerned. Whew, man. It looks like producers hitting those buttons in the background, starting the music. You know what that means, race fans. Time to run down tonight's unofficial race results for the Hot Atlanta 100 here in Swift MotorSports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. Walking away with the race win, driver in the 15 back-to-back race winning weekends, John McMillan Jr. The 59 of Jim Thorndike finishing in the 2nd spot and rounding out the top 3. The last podium spot making a splash with his debut race, the 63 of Marshall Scully. 4th place goes to John McMillan Sr. Andy Starcher gonna bring his 19 machine home in the 5th spot after taking tonight's pole position. Jason Branch in the 22 right there in 6th. 7th place goes to the 31 of Donald Bennett. Larry Poling gonna bring his 69 home in the 8th spot. 9th goes to Britt Crawford. Todd McGregor gonna finish in the 10th spot, 2 laps down from your race leader Don Kidder right there in 11th. 12th place goes to the 20 of Chad Lancaster. Ryan Branchew, after some internet issues, going to fall through the field back to the 13th spot. Greg Deitch going to finish in the 14th spot, rounding out your top 15 and final runner on the speedway, the 45 of Robert Gallard. And a big tip of the hat, thank you, big time shout out to all of the drivers out there in race control, keeping these drivers straight. 28 of Ron Schutte, as well as Roy Fernandez. Gary Wells also up in race control, making sure everything stays smooth, everything gets sorted out. Heck of a job out there tonight, not just by your race control, but by all of these drivers on track. Not very many cautions, only 1 caution here. Actually, 2 cautions here. I apologize, race fans. 2 cautions here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hot Atlanta 100. And with that being said, if you haven't already, give these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, smash the bell over there on the right-hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Whether it's myself, Darkside, Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 Racing headquarters, we do appreciate each and every one of you anytime you stopped by. Without you, there would be no us. And with that being said, race fans, stay safe, stay loved. Until next time, we'll see ya in turn 3.